Hey guys, what's up? It's Samantha. It is Monday morning. I'm still in my pajamas and I am very excited because I'm going to be starting another weekly reading vlog with you guys, and I have big plans for this week. I feel like my weekend reading vlog, my intent was to power through the Curse Breakers trilogy, and then life happened and Joe and I had a very, very busy full Sunday, and while I was able to finish the first book in the series, that wasn't that impressive because I had already gotten almost halfway through the book before the start of the weekend. I just did not get that much time to really sit down and read, which is unusual for me in the grand scheme of things, but I feel like this past year, somehow me not working, I have less time to read. And I think part of that is because I worked as a librarian and I was a teen librarian, so a lot of times sitting on reference desk in the morning or early afternoon before kids got out of school, it was very, very slow. So I was basically able to just sit and read a lot of the time if I was just on reference desk and I needed to be a body at the desk. I got hours of reading in, and now when I'm at home, there's always something I can be doing, and I am definitely one of those people where if I have a to-do hanging over my head, I have trouble sitting down to relax until all of the to-dos are done. So I've set what could be perhaps an absolutely insane challenge for myself. So this week I want to read a book a day, Monday through Friday. Yes, I might be insane. I have nothing on the calendar for this week except for a virtual meeting that I have for a consultation for some closet design stuff that we want to get done in our house. And that's this afternoon at 1:30. But besides that, I have nothing else on the calendar, no social obligations, no plans, no nothing, no errands, no chores, no meetings, which is the first time in a few weeks that I haven't just been absolutely bonkers. We've had a lot of family events going on over the past few weeks. And yesterday, Joe and I knocked out pretty much everything that was on our to-do list. So I'm going to present to you my very structured TBR for this week. And I'm not saying that sarcastically. I feel like I went from being a very mindful reader where I had TBRs where there was wiggle room for mood reading in there, where I might pick, 30 books for a month and read 20 of them. But I feel like I've not been doing that and just leaving everything up to however I feel, whatever, I feel like has been another big contributor to why I'm not reading as much, because I don't have goals or plans or structure. So the first 3 books I want to read this week are the rest of the books in the Curse Breakers series. So I did finish A Curse So Dark and Lonely in my previous reading vlog, which will have hopefully already gone up. You will have seen that. I have not edited yet. I need to shower and then film my outro for that. So, technically that last vlog hasn't even ended yet, but I want to read the next 2 books in the series, and then I do have the first book in the new trilogy, and I'll throw the cover up here on screen. So I would like to get through those 3 books, and they are very short, fast reads. And then the last 2 books that I want to read this week are For the Wolf and For the Throne by Hannah Whitten. I read For the Wolf last year and I liked it. I thought it was a really fun read. I think I gave it a 3 or a 3.5, which for me means I liked it, but I was very intrigued to pick up the sequel. I actually had an arc of the sequel. I've had an arc of the sequel for months and months and months, and I never reread the first book, and it's been a year since I read the first book at this point, so I want to reread that, physically read these, and I will probably physically read portions of both of the Curse Breakers books, but I do have the audiobooks from my library on Libby for both of those, so I can do some planning, maybe film a plan with me now that I have my new office chair, and I've been using it. I planned some this weekend, and it really seriously has helped my back pain so much. I did not realize that so much of my back pain was just caused by having a bad office chair. So I'm very excited for this week and to just get back into my reading spirit, my reading like energy. And I want to take advantage of the fact that I don't have too much going on for the next couple of months, because I know the end of July and all of August is going to be an absolute cluster. Yeah, I want to like kind of get ahead of my reading goal this month and like into July and just like set myself up for success. So enough of this rambling. I've been talking for forever, so I am going to finish my coffee and start reading A Heart So Fierce and Broken. I do need to edit a little bit today, but that should be fun. I actually really like editing vlogs. It's like a little more creative than editing Plan With Me's, so I find that enjoyable. So yeah, that's all that's on the docket for today, and I will check in with you guys after I've like read a substantial amount of this. I'm curious to see if I am knowing, like I feel like last time I read this I had really high expectations because of how much I liked the first book, but I remember just thinking this was like fine, like it was good, it wasn't great. Because I really loved the first book the first time I read it. So now that my expectations are significantly lower, like I'm going into this expecting to not like it, and instead of going into this expecting it to be a 5-star read. So I feel like I might have a better time with it, just like knowing that it's not going to be a 5-star read and not being like angry and disappointed about it, and just being like, it's a 3 or a 3.5 star, and like that's okay. Like it's just a fun, silly book, and honestly, I need some fun, silly books in my life right now. So, yeah, those are thoughts, feelings, ideas. I need this coffee to kick in. My brain is like only 25% of the way on. So I will talk to you guys in a little bit. So I just got off the Zoom call with the Container Store, like designer person, and that was like a lot of fun. So we have like a solid plan. I think there's a few things I might like tweak. I think Joe and I will probably like drive and go to the store, but the store is like on the other side of town. I didn't want to like drive multiple times just with how expensive gas is. So we are probably going to go there like in the next week or two to like check stuff out and kind of hammer down exactly what we want to do. But I'm very, very excited for like all of the lovely closet storage solutions, because especially like the pantry, having like drawers and stuff in a pantry, just like chef's kiss. So I'm done with that. I'm going to make a very late lunch. It's like 3 o'clock. It took way longer than I thought it was going to take by the time I was done with the meeting. And then I'm going to sit down and I'm just going to like crank through this book. So it is significantly shorter than the first book. I think it's almost 100 pages shorter. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. It's gonna be a good time. I'm excited. I'm in a good mood. I love organizing things. I love like closet organization and all this stuff. So it's like just like chef's kiss perfection. So very excited. Yeah, I will chat with you guys in a bit. So it's a little bit later in the evening and I am about halfway through A Heart So Fierce and Broken, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm having a really good time with this. I feel like going in with lower expectations is actually letting me have a better time this go around. Like I am liking it more on reread than I did the first time, if that makes sense, just because I'm not going in like, this is gonna blow my mind even more than the first one. I'm just like, this is gonna be dramatic and highly entertaining and a little silly, and that is what I want out of this book. So this is just over 400 pages. I'm reading this super fast. I actually took like a pretty substantial break because I wanted to show Joe the plans for the closets that we like came up with earlier today during like the consultation, and like get his input and like see what things he wanted to change around. So yeah, I am planning on hopefully finishing this or getting really close to finishing this tonight. That would be ideal, and I think I can. I'm reading this super duper fast. Like I didn't even go outside until almost 4:30, and when Joe came home from work, that was like when he came outside and I like went over stuff with him. I had read 180 pages in that time, so I think I'm like pretty pretty set to like finish this or get very, very close to finishing this tonight. Good morning. Pardon the bedhead. I woke up like an hour ago, but I've been doing stuff around the house. I like made the beds and kind of did my morning reset, and I prepped dinner for tonight. We're having like a baked eggplant marinara mozzarella thing. I got that already. That way all I have to do is pop that in the oven like around 5:30 tonight and dinner's taken care of. I don't have to do anything else, which I'm very excited about. So I have my coffee and I have my book, and I am very excited to finish this morning and jump into book 3. I am about 60% of the way through this, but based on how fast I was reading yesterday, I'm pretty sure I'm going to knock out like the last 180 pages or however much I have left while I'm sitting here drinking my coffee. And then I will be able to jump into book 3. And I have absolutely nothing planned today, which is part of why I got dinner done now, so I don't have any afternoon or evening interruptions. I can just sit and read all day. I did want to go outside and read again, but it is so muggy and swampy here right now. A lot of people are surprised when they find out Ohio can be like really, really muggy. It can be quite moist. Like, it's not as bad this morning as it was yesterday morning, but yesterday morning all of our windows were fogged up when I woke up. So I don't know, it's supposed to be even hotter today. It's gonna be in like the mid 90s and super humid like for the next few days. So I don't know how much sitting outside time I will be doing, especially during like the heat of the day, which, you know, whatever. I feel like I concentrate better when I'm sitting outside because I don't have distractions. I'm in like a distractionless box, and I leave my phone in the kitchen, so I don't have any screens to distract me. I haven't sat and just like read hundreds of pages at one time, like in a physical book, in a really, really long time, which might sound weird, but I feel like it's definitely a muscle. And even me, someone who still reads a fair amount, even when I'm not reading a lot by my standards, I'm still reading a lot by like other, like the rest of the world's standards. I don't know, like I've just really gotten out of the habit of just sitting and reading for a couple hours at a time. And I did that yesterday, and I was like, whoa, I forgot that I really like doing this. I should do this more often. So that is the goal for today. I'm gonna drink my coffee, wake up a little bit, read this book, and I will check in with you guys when I'm finished. Hello, I am a disaster person, so I am almost done with my book, but I took a break to edit a reading vlog, and I look like an absolute dumpster fire of a human being. So, you know, my chaotic life. Is it a reading vlog if I'm not just like in absolute chaos? I couldn't have really vlogged earlier today anyways, like earlier this afternoon, because right after I filmed my last clip, or like right about that time, I got a call from Joe that a tree fell outside of his office and he needed to come home to finish out his day and like switch to all telepsych patients because he like didn't have power or like phone lines or anything. So he came home to finish his day out. So he's been in the other room like seeing patients virtually all afternoon. So I got my computer all set up on my desk here so I could use my nice supportive chair. I finished editing this weekly reading vlog from a couple weeks ago. I did not mean for it to take so long to go up. I did a rough edit right after I filmed it, and then I just like never went back to finish it, but I finished it. I'm trying to be better about not just like abandoning projects. So I did this. I also did my thumbnail for the weekend reading vlog that I just filmed. I still have to edit that. I don't know if I'm gonna do that tonight or tomorrow or what. But yeah, I am really, really enjoying the sequel, whatever it's called. I feel like I'm liking it more than the first time because I am going into it with different expectations. Like I knew there was gonna be, like it was gonna be very different than what I had originally expected it to be because I've read it before. So I feel like I'm enjoying it more because I'm not disappointed that it's not going the way I thought it was gonna go. I don't know. So I need to shower and like put on clothes, or at least like a new pair of clean pajamas, which will look exactly like these pajamas because I just have multiple pairs of the same pajamas. So yeah, I am going to get my act together and do something. Go shower. That's the goal. If I need to have showered by the time I film my next clip, so hold me accountable if I have not done that. Okay? Okay. Update, I did shower and I am editing my weekend reading vlog from this past weekend. And this is the delicious dinner eggplant mozzarella sauce situation that I threw together this morning. I'm gonna come back over here and keep working on this until dinner is ready to be consumed. Good morning, it is Wednesday, and I did end up finishing A Heart So Fierce and Broken last night. I got about like 90% of the way through the book physically before I went to bed, and then I woke up for like an hour and a half or 2 hours in the middle of the night. I had a really bizarre dream and I couldn't fall back asleep. So I finished listening to this on audiobook while I was trying to fall back asleep last night, but I did end up finishing the rest of this on audiobook. So I am ready to jump into A Vow So Bold and Deadly this morning. I did like listen to the first chapter or two, but I think I'm just gonna kind of reread them physically because at that point I was actually starting to fall back asleep, so I don't remember all of the deets. So I'm very excited. I want to finish this today. And this is only like 405 pages. For comparison, the first book was almost 500 and the second book was about 450. So I definitely think this is gonna be doable considering I read basically 450 pages yesterday. So I am very excited to finish this series off. I feel like this is something that has been hanging over my head to finish since since I had an arc of this book that I didn't read because I needed to reread the first two. And then I brought all three of the books with me when we moved into the apartment. If you didn't know, I put most of my books in storage when we moved into this apartment, and so I only brought books with me that I thought I was going to read or reread while we were here in this apartment, and I really wanted to finish this series off, so we've been here for a year and I'm finally getting to this book. So I'm very excited to finish this series. It's just been hanging over my head. I did sleep in really late today because I was up for 2 hours, and that is my coffee. I have my lovely cup of coffee, which I'm going to sip on while I read this book. But yeah, I don't have very much on the table today, which is what I said yesterday, and then everything blew up in my face. But I am going to be posting my video today. I uploaded it yesterday. I just need to make a thumbnail for it. And then I am also going to be I have a phone conversation at noon with someone from our mortgage team, and I need to work out today. So that'll probably be like 30 to 45 minutes in terms of the workout. But other than that, I will probably edit a little bit more tonight. I did knock out my whole second, like my weekend reading vlog from this past weekend. I edited the whole thing and like put in titles and did everything. I'll probably watch it through and like edit down some parts a little bit more. The one question I had for you guys is like, how much stuff do you like to see where it's like sped up like times 1,000? If it's like something like me folding laundry or cleaning something or putting something away, like bother you? Do you like that? Do you not like that? Should I cut that stuff out? Like I never know what is interesting to people because I find watching like time lapses of cleaning very satisfying. But obviously like the primary goal of these videos is to talk about the books I'm reading, and then like little bits of my life are kind of interspersed around that. I don't know what you guys like to see. Let me know what your preference is in the comments because I am genuinely curious. We'll probably post like a story on Instagram, like a poll asking you guys too. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and read and I will talk to you guys in a little bit. Well, once again, my life ended up being a disaster today, and many things took me away from what I wanted to be doing, which is reading. But around like 5:30, I did pick this up, and I am halfway through A Vow So Bold and Deadly. This is a very, very fast read. I'm reading like, I'd probably say like 80 or 90 pages an hour, so I'm reading this very quickly. I am bound and determined to finish this before I go to bed tonight and to start forging silver into stars before I go to sleep tonight, or at least like have that be my audiobook when I go to sleep. Yeah, I feel like this has been if anything, like this vlog has been representative of what my life has been like for the last year. I keep beating myself up for not getting enough done, but every day that I'm like, I have nothing planned today, 800 like little small things come up that I just constantly am like putting out fires, whether it's about like the house, the apartment, the mortgage people, like just nonstop phone calls, emails, everything. So yeah, I'm enjoying this. I'm having a good time. And I just want Gray to get his happily ever after, and like Ren can, I don't know, like go somewhere else. I don't care. That's like what I want from this, is I want Ren to get like knocked down a few pegs and like realize he has no idea what the heck he's doing. He's sort of a jerk, and he does not deserve to lead anyone because he's the worst. So that's sort of how I'm feeling. But yeah, I'm having a good time. Super fast, easy breezy read. Like I said, I'm halfway through, and I'm going to sit down and probably finish this in, I don't know, very, very quickly, like another hour and a half or something. This is an easy breezy read. So I'll check in with you guys when I finish. Hey guys, so it's early afternoon on Thursday, and I did finish A Vow So Bold and Deadly last night, and I ended up really liking it. I feel like a lot of people on Goodreads really hated this final book, and I feel like my thoughts and feelings on this, without getting too spoilery, are that Ren is the actual worst, but I've thought he was the worst since the first book. I've always liked Gray a lot more than Ren. I never thought that Ren was like the good guy or the hero. Like I had empathy for him, but I never particularly thought Ren was like a great leader or a good guy. So I like how this turned out, and I like that she sort of took like what the expected outcome that you would assume at the end of the first book would be and kind of flipped it on its head, made it a little interesting. So yeah, I really liked this. I had a good time, and I gave it like 4 stars. I'd say I probably liked the second book a little bit more than the third book, but not by much. Like I still am pretty comfortable giving this a 4-star. I had a good time. I flew through it. I basically read it in one sitting last night. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I liked it. Past tense. I finished it like yesterday. So I am glad that I finally finished this trilogy, which means I can move on to Forging Silver into Stars, which I'm accidentally matching today. So this is a companion series set in the same world, and it takes place like after the fact, so like a sequel companion series. And I believe Tycho from the first trilogy, who's a character that shows up in like the second and third books, is in this as well. And so far I have only read the first couple of chapters. Yeah, I'm like 20 pages into this, and I am liking it so far. It's interesting to get a perspective in this world from like a common person. I think there's 3 points of view, at least 3 points of view. There's a girl, Callan, and a boy, Jax, and they are both like commoners, peasants. They are both very poor individuals, like struggling to make ends meet. People are not happy with political leadership. There is civil unrest. There are protests. The palace is broken into. This is like in the first couple pages. There's like a big kerfuffle, and they don't like that magic has come back to the land, and people are very distrustful of magic, and that is something that is touched upon in this book, and that isn't resolved. So I think this series is going to be about those underlying tensions, and I've already seen names, because obviously this series is more about like the people in power, and I think this series is going to be more from the perspective of the common folk who are suffering from the poor decisions that these idiots made. So I'm appreciating getting a totally different perspective on this world. And this book is longer than either of like any of the books in this series. This is like 550 pages long. So I am planning on reading it this afternoon. I had a bit of a like relaxing morning. I was watching a bunch of YouTube stuff and not doing anything really productive, which I kind of needed. a few hours to just like mentally decompress. But yeah, I'm gonna go take this outside and chill and relax and just like vibe. So I have completely changed my plans. I was getting ready to go outside, but this is just calling my name. Joe got me the Statue of Liberty Lego set for Christmas, and I still haven't done it. I got the audiobook for Forging Silver into Stars, and I think I'm just gonna listen to this for a while and like zone out and build Lego. That just sounds like what I want to do right now. So I am going to do that. So I'm about 21% into Forging Silver into Stars, and I am really enjoying it. I really like this world. I like that this has gotten like way more complex and political than like the first book would lead you to believe that like a Beauty and the Beast retelling could be. There seems to be like elements of like a resistance and a spy network, and there's like some stuff going on. And so we're following, I think I mentioned this in my earlier update, we're following I think a girl named like Callie or something, and then a boy named Jax, and they're like best friends living in a very, very small town. I thought it was in Sill Shallow. I think that's the name of the country, but I think it's like right over the edge of the border, technically in Emberfall. I don't know. It's like it's a border town. It's like very close to the border. That's my takeaway. Tycho, who is very much a present character, one of the like main side characters in the second and third book. He's younger. I think this is taking place like about 4 years after the end of the last book. Tycho is now like the courier between the two kingdoms. So he like works for both crowns as like a messenger. And his horse throws a shoe during bad weather, and so he stops in this small town to get the horse reshoed by the blacksmith, who is Jax. Well, like Jax's dad is the blacksmith, but his dad's kind of like a drunk and not really around, and so Jax is like the one doing most of the work. So I am picking up on like that there might be a romance brewing between Tycho and Jax, or at least an attraction. There is a moment where Tycho sees Jax is injured and says like, "Who did this to you?" And I was like, I love that in a book. Like, it's so good. So I am hoping that's where this goes. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep building my Legos and listening to this book. I am having a grand old time. I will probably at some point tonight switch over to the, like once I'm done with my Legos, I will switch over to the physical book because I can read much faster than I can listen to, and I'm listening on like times 2.2, but I could probably finish the book tonight if I switched over to physical. So that's the plan, and it got a little cloudy outside, so maybe it cooled down a little bit, and I can go sit on the patio, have a glass of wine, and read my book after I'm done building my Legos. Good morning. It is actually Saturday morning, not Friday morning. I decided to not vlog yesterday because I got my period and I wasn't particularly feeling the greatest or very energetic, so I decided to just finish this 5-day reading vlog today. So the first book I'm gonna wrap up this morning with my coffee is Forging Silver into Stars. I am almost done with this. I almost had this like pretty close to finish on Thursday, and I did read a little bit more of it yesterday, but not very much. So I will be able to finish this up probably in the next half an hour, 40 minutes. And then I'm going to jump into For the Wolf, and I think I can finish this today and at least get a chunk into For the Throne. I would love to finish both of these today. I would have to have my like attention span would have to be just like on it. Like I'd have to be on my A game, but I could do it. Will I do it? I don't know. It is finally much cooler outside today, so I can go sit outside for most of the day. I think the high is like 74 or something, which is great because it's been like 97 the rest of this week. So I am very excited to jump back into this world. So my coffee is almost ready. I'm gonna go grab that and start reading, and I'll check in with you guys in a bit. So I just realized I never updated you guys, like gave you my final thoughts and feelings on Forging Silver into Stars. So I did finish this like halfway through my cup of coffee this morning. I flew through the end of it. The end of this was very action-packed, very tense, very short chapters because we were rapidly switching between points of view because there was a whole lot going on, but I loved this. I ended up giving it a full 5 stars. I really needed a 2022 new release to love, and this was it for me. If you've been following me on Instagram and in my videos here on YouTube, I've talked about how I've really struggled to find new releases this year to love, and I'm so glad I finally finished the original Cursebreakers trilogy and picked this up because I think this is excellent, like even better than the original series. I would definitely say, even though there are 3 point of view characters, this book is definitely Jax and Tycho's stories and their relationship, and I was just absolutely smitten with them, like obsessed. And I would say that this, even though this is marketed as YA fantasy, I would say this probably has strong crossover appeal to adult fantasy or adult like romance fantasy. If you read a lot of like more character-driven, romance-centric adult fantasy stories, I think you would still like this as an adult. The characters are like 20, so it's not young teen melodrama. They're basically functioning as adults in this story. In their world, they are treated like adults. So just absolutely loved this. The romance was just so sweet, and I have a feeling in the next book, Callie, who's like our 3rd POV character, who, like, she's obviously an important character in this story, but she's not quite as fleshed out as Tycho and Jax maybe are. I got an inkling that there might be a 4th point of view character in the next book, and that the next book might focus more on her and the other point of view character. And I think there might be some more development and more drama in her story, like her personal journey, personal growth in the 2nd book. I am highly anticipating the next book in this series. I just love Brigid Kemmerer. Like, she is one of the few YA fantasy authors that still works for me as a 32-year-old woman, and I'm just so glad that it didn't disappoint, especially because I feel like a lot of people didn't love how the Cursebreaker trilogy ended, and I ended up like quite enjoying it. So it just makes me feel good that like I love this series like even more than I loved Cursebreakers. It feels good to pick something up and love it. Like, that's all I wanted. I just want to love a book again. Like, is that too much to ask? So yeah, if you wanted to know if you were a fan of the Cursebreakers series, definitely pick up the companion series. This was excellent, and I'm very much going to be looking for an arc. I don't know when the next one is slated to be published, but I will be keeping my eyes out for when arcs of it get posted because I cannot wait to find out what happens next. The end was just so explosive. So I am about 40% of the way through For the Wolf, and I realized I don't think I told you guys what this book is about. If you are unfamiliar, it is kind of a Red Riding Hood / Beauty and the Beast retelling mashed together. Like, there's elements of Red Riding Hood, but I would say the story itself is more similar to Beauty and the Beast. This follows Red, who is the 2nd daughter of the queen, and she basically on her 20th birthday is given to the forest as a sacrifice. There's like a religious ritual around it, and she like has some forest related, plant related magical power going on. But anyways, once she's in the forest, she finds this like giant rotting palace keep thing in the center of the forest, and that is where the wolf lives. So like the falling apart castle and like the brooding guy who's in charge of it, there's like a library, like a lot of those elements are more Beauty and the Beast than Red Riding Hood, so to speak. And the wolf is kind of more of like a warden for the forest, and there's like something sinister going on. You quickly realize that like whatever's going on with this religion that sort of edifies these like old kings and the forest, like maybe it doesn't have the full picture. It's very convoluted. Like this is a very atmospheric, a very beautifully written story, but I definitely can tell why I struggled with the beginning of this the first time I read it. It is very confusing. There is a lot going on, and there's like multiple versions of the same story almost. Like you get bits and pieces from like the wolf, and then there's these interludes that follow Red's like older sister. They're twins, but like her twin sister that was born first. We get these like every few chapters we get an interlude following the older sister, and she is like learning more about like kind of like a sect of the religion that maybe is more nefarious than the rest of the religion, and there's like some political stuff going on behind the scenes that we like are getting glimpses of in the interludes. There's just a lot going on, and there's a lot of like fantasy names and fantasy things being thrown at you without getting like answers to stuff necessarily. It's a little convoluted, but it's definitely atmospheric. It has all of the like spooky, dark, evil forest vibes. You get those like almost Snow White vibes when she's like running through the forest before she finds the dwarf's home, with like the trees like reaching out and like grabbing at her cloak and like scraping her and like almost like drinking her blood and attacking her. And you get like a lot of those fairy tale creepy forest vibes, and then you're like, is the forest good? Is it bad? So that's like part of what makes this so confusing, is you're getting like all of this information, or like what different groups of people believe is going on in this forest, but like there's no answers yet. So I'm like 160 pages into this book. It's like 430 pages. So my goal tonight is to finish this before dinner. It's about 4 o'clock right now. Like I'm hoping to finish this up by like 6:30. So that would be optimal. And then I can at least start the second book of this. I don't think I'll finish the second book tonight, but I can at least start it. So I'm looking forward to that, and I will check in with you guys in a little bit if I have more thoughts, feelings. I do remember liking this more once the romance picked up, and like the romance hasn't really been any of like the romance stuff going on yet. So I'm excited for that to come into play a little bit more down the line. So we'll see what happens, and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. So it is the next day, and I want to go ahead and wrap up this weekly reading vlog that bled into part of the weekend too, but I was able to finish For the Wolf last night. I mostly read this in print, but I did switch over and listen to a few chapters on audiobook last night. I wanted to keep sitting out on the patio, and it was getting a little too dark to comfortably read, so I pulled it up on my iPad and listened to it while I played some like games on my iPad, and that was really nice. I do still think I prefer the like physical reading experience for this series. The writing is just so like lush and atmospheric that I feel like I can get lost very easily if I'm listening to it. So I feel like my thoughts and feelings on this book have not changed at all since the first time I read it. This is still like a 3.5 out of 5 stars for me. I feel like I can best sum up this book by saying it is entirely vibes. If you are looking for a book that is just all atmosphere, all vibes, you want that spooky haunting forest, you want fairy tale vibes, you want all of that kind of stuff, this is the book for you. I think the romance is probably the strongest, more like plot element of this, and I feel like the book is a lot more enjoyable once the romance sort of kicks in, which doesn't really happen until like the back third of the book. The ending is pretty action-packed too, and it definitely sets up some really interesting things for the second book. I did get through a few chapters of For the Throne last night, and I feel like this is already showing improvement in Hannah Whitten's writing. I feel like it's a little bit more tightly written while still having those vibes, that atmosphere that is really enjoyable from the first book. Another thing that I think is going to make this a stronger book, or a book that I think I might have the potential to like a little bit more than the first book, is that it is told in multi-perspective. So the first book is really only told from Red's point of view, and then we get these interludes where we get to sort of see what her sister is up to back home. But this is told not just from both sisters' points of view, but also from some of the side characters in the first book, and I think this has the potential to be something that I might like a little bit more. I do love a multi-perspective fantasy story, so I am excited to sink my teeth into this more. This has some more like fairy tale references, hints, tropes. I feel like this might have some Snow White elements. There's already been things like the glass coffin and some like weird dreams about poisonous apples and that sort of thing. So I'm excited to see like how some sort of fairy tale elements get pulled into this as well, other than just Beauty and the Beast and Red Riding Hood. So yeah, overall, really excited to see how this duology concludes. I would definitely recommend this to anyone who likes spooky forest vibey books. Like, that is what this is. Like, don't go into this expecting a super strong plot or like really logical world building. This is just vibes, like only vibes. That's what this is. So thank you guys so much for watching this vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. I feel like this one was a little all over the place, a little loosey-goosey, but I had a good time. I feel like my reading is just like back to where I want it to be. Like, this was a great exercise in kind of making myself read the books that I actually think I'm gonna like. So I need to keep this up. I need to keep doing this. I forgot that I can actually have fun reading books, which sounds really sad to say out loud, but it's true. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will talk to you in my next one. Bye guys.